Hey everybody, Team G Sale back with another video. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. This is part 2 of my top 20 NES games in my collection. And thanks for all of those people who supported me and watched part 1. If you haven't done so, I will put a link in the description as I count down towards my most expensive NES game. Now, I have to already put in correction out there. I miscounted. Yes, there was a game in my collection that I had actually sold and did not update my list. So when I went to go make this, I realized I only have 9 here, not 10. So technically, I'm going to say this is my top 9 most expensive NES games in my collection. And as I mentioned in part 1, this is based off video game price charting, loose copies in Canadian dollars. That being said, everybody, let's jump into the video. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Smash that like button to show some support and comment below. What are your top NES games in your collection?
All right, guys, let's start with the game number 9 on my list, and it is Action 52. I'm having a hard time balancing it here. There you go. This is an unlicensed game for the NES and a well-known terrible one. And yes, this one is very terrible. It is 52 games in one. None of them are particularly good. I've played maybe half of the cartridge and gave up because it was just driving me. It was just bad. Just lots of bad games. Either way, my cartridge is in good condition. Mine appeared, I had one originally and then sold it. And then one appeared on Marketplace for $50. I drove right over there and picked it up. And then he tried to haggle with me when I got there because he said he was getting more calls, but he held firm on his price of $50. Again, if you find this cartridge cheap, it's probably worth your time picking up, but I wouldn't recommend it overall. Coming in at number 8 on my list is Swordmaster by Activision. Swordmaster is actually a super fun game. This game kind of reminds me of ActRaiser for the Super Nintendo, which was without the town building element, but the action seems very, very similar. It's a side-scrolling action game. I really like this game, by the way. I found mine in our local video game group. Somebody had posted it for $10 we're going back probably 14 or 15 years ago, and I went and picked it up pretty much instantly, and it's been in my collection ever since. I don't plan on getting rid of it either. Again, always known as kind of an uncommon one. When I got it, it was probably a $100 game. So the fact that I got it for 90% below the market value at the time was awesome. Coming up next, number 7 on my list. Oh, and I dropped it. Look at that. Fumble fingers there. Oh, there it is. And it's Snow Brothers by Capcom. A puzzle game which is Bubble Bobble-esque. And essentially you're going up instead of down. And obviously there's some differences. It's a 2-player co-op game. It's very, very fun. You're essentially building up these snowballs and throwing them at your opponents. Once everyone on the screen is dead, you advance to the next level. I like it. I loved Bubble Bobble, and this game is definitely on my list of liked games as well. My copy here came from Alberta when Neil was living out there. He picked this game up for me. I believe it was $40 at the time, which was a massive steal. I don't actually remember even where he got it from. I didn't complain. But either way, if you get a chance to grab it, please do. It's worth it. Number 6 on my list now is Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers Part 2. Look, another Capcom game. Unlike DuckTales and DuckTales 2, this one is slightly different than the first one. I personally like the first one better, although this one's not bad too. It's definitely good. This right here, what you're looking at, is the most expensive game that I ever paid for. Oh God, we're probably going back 20 years now or so. Somebody had posted this online for $100. And at the time, it was maybe going for $140 or $150. And I was so iffy about buying this. I went back and forth with the guy for a week. Finally, I drove down there and paid him. I couldn't believe it at the time that I had paid $100 for a game, but look what it's worth now. My copy's in good condition, including the top label as well. And again, if you get a chance to pick that one up, it still holds quite a bit of value. Next up, we have Wacky Races. Wacky Races is an Atlas-published game, and I'm going to be honest with you, never played it. Fan of the show, definitely liked the Wacky Races Hanna-Barbera show. Never got around to playing the game, actually, to be honest with you, so I'm not going to comment on it. It's one that's on my list of games to play. My copy came from, interestingly enough, a local collector. What had happened is over the years, I had built up a large amount of PAL titles. I was looking on eBay. When they would come up cheap, I'd buy them, and then eventually decided I don't want PAL titles anymore, and this local collector was looking for PAL titles, so we traded for 4 heavy hitters, and this was one of them, and I traded him all my PAL games. So this game has been in my collection ever since, and I have had offers from people to buy it, but it's one that I haven't yet sold off yet either way. Hopefully I get to play it in the future. Next up, Gun-Knack. Oh, this is a great shooter for the NES. I still like Life Force as my favorite shooter, but this is good. It's very, very good. Another Alberta purchase. Neil got it from me there. I believe it was $60, 60, 70 in that range. I don't remember the exact price I paid, but it was definitely way, way below 100, which is now it's going for way, way above that. But either way, this is a good copy. My label and top label are in excellent condition. Not much else I can say about it. It's a fun shooter. If you can find it for cheap, I would certainly add it. I mean, that goes for any of these games. If you could find them for cheap, add them to your collections. But there's Gun-Knack. Getting to the bottom of the list now. And here we have Cowboy Kid. Oh, okay. So this game's okay. Apparently, it's like the Goemon games that came out a little bit later for later consoles. I am like Little Ninja, whatever it's called again. I'm not super into these games. They're basically action RPGs where you're essentially, you know, going around beating up or shooting people, but at the same time, you're getting upgrades and talking to villagers and getting clues. I got mine from a rental store for $2 when it was going out of business. You could still see those silver rental stickers on it. I tried to get that one off the label, but oh boy, is it starting to lift the label, so I just left it. I didn't want to damage it anymore. This is a well-known uncommon game. Even when I got it, I was shocked. This store had a bin, I guess that a box, I should say, of NES stuff that they had been hiding in the back for years, and all the games were $2 or $3, and this was one of them. So that's Cowboy Kid. Next up, Dragon Fighter. I'm not such a fan of this game. It's a shooter and a action side-scroller as well. It's okay, not my favorite. Mine has some marker on it. I could get that off. I just haven't really gone to bother to do it. I purchased mine in the video game group. This was years ago. Somebody posted it, I believe, for $10 or $15. I went right down there and grabbed it. I mean, at the time, there just wasn't as many people looking for uncommon NES stuff, so I was able to get it. My copies, good label, good side label, just unfortunately got that little marker there. But again, I'm sure if I worked at that, I could get that marker off. I'm just not a huge stickler for condition as some other people are. All right, well, that's going to show very, very much on this next game here. This is the Zombie Nation, and yes, you're not seeing things. My label is bad. Yes, it's unfortunately ripped, and that also extends to the top label as well. It is what it is. I am not a stickler for condition. This game, of course, is going to technically be reduced to value because of that, but either way, it's still technically the most valuable game in my collection. Now, story behind this, I had a mint copy that I had got from the flea market for $50 from one of the vendors years ago. Now, one of my friends, who's a local collector, wanted a mint copy, and he didn't have one. He had this copy. So he offered me $150 cash plus my copy for this. Plus his copy for mine. And I made the trade. And I don't regret it, because honestly, condition isn't everything to me. Zombie Nation is a strange type shooter game. I'm definitely not a fan of it. It's not one of the games I would put in my want to playlist quite frequently, but it is a valuable game. So if you do come across them, and I have multiple times come across these games, I don't think they're super rare, but definitely super expensive. So either way, guys, that's the end of the video here. If you haven't already done so, please hit that subscribe button, smash the like button to show some support, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye now.